time for Bid Nerds, your daily nerd on the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites, including PCar Market, Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, Mark, Shiftgate, and whatever other auction site happens to pop up. My name is John Polnik. I'm coming to you from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas, along with my partner Michael Deeb in San Francisco. What's happening, Michael Deeb?
JP, happy Independence Day.
Hey, you want to say hello to our good friend Jason Alter over there? Let's see if we can see him.
What's up, Jason?
Can you see him? There he is.
America.
That's right. We are hanging out in the studio down here on 4th of July recording this episode. But we're having a good time, and we are not at a barbecue. We're not roasting hot dogs. We're not blowing stuff up just yet because we're
nerds.
Bid nerd stuff for you. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell's wrong with us? Why would we be here for you instead of hanging out with our friends and family? Because we don't have those things. We're
Friends
car
nerds. Yeah.
That
Life?
is the downside, right? Is that nobody wants to be our friend. What we do on this show is we select the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. We have a little conversation, little convo about that car, and then we make a prediction as to what we think it will sell for at the end of its auction cycle. And then we will tell you what it actually sold for right after that. It's pretty amazing, right? We could do that all in the same episode.
Complete show.
Complete the circle. Today's car is one of the best sports cars of all time.
Wow. I'm sorry. I never heard you say that about,
Well, take a look at this thing. Look,
I love it.
How can you argue with that?
I owned one. That's why I love it. The other reason I love this car is because it's offered for sale by Justin Jurgens, who owns British Sports Cars in San Luis Obispo. This car is on consignment through his shop, and Justin Jurgens is a friend of the show. He is a nerd like us. JP, what we are looking at is a 2005 Honda S2000 with just 24,000 original miles, offered on the terrible, and we have to talk to Justin about this, PCar Market platform. I'm shocked because Justin has an account with Bring a Trailer, but I'm guessing that the consignor wanted her money right away, and thus he sent it to PCar Market rather than waiting the 90 days to 100 days in the queue to get this car listed on Bring a Trailer, which would ultimately push this car into the fall in a softening market as interest rates and inflation are going crazy through the roof. So I'm guessing Justin is really just sort of kind of hurrying this car along. What's remarkable about this car, JP, is that it's just a 2-owner car. The light blue, when you see a light blue on an S2000, 9 times out of 10, it's Suzuka blue. And Suzuka blue, JP, in Porsche speak, is very similar to Polar silver. But this car actually has a little more blue in it. It's actually kind of like Azzurro California, which is a Ferrari color. But the color here in Honda terminology is Nürburgring blue metallic. And I will just go out as a Honda fanboy and tell you that's a really rare shade on an S2000. You just don't see those cars very often. Most of the times you see a light blue car, it's Suzuka. The other thing that makes this car really unique is it has the factory hardtop. And I'm told that actually adds $2,500 to $3,500 to the value of the vehicle because so few people ordered one from their Honda dealer when they bought the car new. And to see the factory hardtop on the car is supposed to bring some monetary value to the car. This car is in spectacular condition. I have seen this car in person and touched. I sat in the car. It looks like a brand new car. You're hard pressed to find a single blemish on it anywhere. There's no curb rash. The books and the tools are all wrapped in their plastic. They've never been touched. This hardtop you can store in your garage, and it has the factory tonneau cover that you would put over your convertible top when it's down. If you were going to go out on a summer day and you knew you were never going to put the top up, you could put the tonneau in place. The tonneau is still wrapped in cellophane and is in the trunk of the car. It's in brand new condition. It's never been opened. So this car really is nice. That being said, S2000s have actually started to soften in the marketplace, in my opinion. I want to say it's quantifiable, but we're seeing the really rare CRs break the bank, but the regular cars I think are coming back. And so I'm very curious to see where this auction lands, not only for the consignor, but for Justin and certainly for the sake of our show. So, JP, I will send it over to you and ask you, I know you know what these cars are, but have you truly driven one in anger, like on a back road, and really got into the rhythm of driving one of these incredible high revving cars?
Yeah, and it really is one of those cars that we use the term best bang for the buck pretty often. And I think this car kind of lives up to that. We'll
True.
get to how much we think this car will actually sell for, but compare this to like a second gen Boxster. I think that's kind of,
Right.
You got a second gen Boxster S with a 3 what is it, 3.4?
4, yeah.
Yeah, 3.4, I think, in the second gen Boxer S's. Somewhere in that 300 horsepower range, and with a little bit of torque as well. Whereas this car is nowhere near that, but just such a high revving car, and just
Yeah.
a great momentum car. Just feels lighter, even though I don't know what's the weight difference between those two cars. Do you think?
This car weighs 2,800 pounds, and I bet that second gen Boxster is closer to 3,000. So it's
Yeah.
a couple 100-pound penalty on the Boxster.
Yeah. But the Boxster has a mid-engine. This has an engine in the front. The
Front mid-engine.
transmissions, sorry. Yeah. Anyways, shifting through the gears on one of these is one of the easiest things to do in any car ever, and it's so rewarding, and it's just glorious to just rip through it. I remember when these came out, driving them around when these came out in like what was it, 2000? There was just like nothing. The first gen Boxers are pretty great, but looked in comparison to this car terrible. This is just a gorgeous, timeless design. That really, really holds up well and looks new now. I mean, this car, you could change the wheels and put a couple more radiuses on this thing, like all the car designers seem to like to do these days, and put this on a showroom, and it would sell in 2022, no problem. And I think people would buy it. And this car, how many years did this car run? 20 years?
Not even.
Not even. What am I saying? I'm sorry. Yeah. 15,
like 10 years. Yeah, like 99 to 2009.
Was it okay? Yeah. So, and they didn't really change it. It pretty much looked the same the whole darn time. There's just subtle little differences. Gosh, I really wish I'd owned one of these back when you could get them inexpensively. This is one of those cars that suffered from a lot of young people getting them and destroying them. So finding a clean one with a hardtop, boy. So where are we at? What do we think the price of this car is going to be with this few miles?
Good question, JP. I'm glad you asked. So what we're looking at right now is Honda S2000. It's sitting at $30,000 on 7 bids, and it's going to close in just a couple of days here on PCar Market. And I'm going to keep stressing that it's on PCar Market because I think that's going to hold it back. It's a West Coast car. It's not a European car. I don't think PCar Market has the audience for this car. And I'm not saying Justin made a mistake. I think Justin, and I'm making excuses for him. I really don't know. But I'm assuming he's trying to appease an impatient or urgent seller to bring this market rather than bring a trailer where he could get it on, but it might take him 80 to 100 days to do so. And I think this car would have a chance to come close to 40 grand. But on this platform, I'm going to say this car peters out at $36,000. And I wonder if that's the reserve that the consignor has. Like at $36,000, I'm guessing the consignor is looking for more money. But I don't know. We'll see. So I'm going to say 36 and send it to you and ask you what you think. It's a tremendous value at that price, but I just don't know if that's all going to happen on this platform.
Well, the way cars have been selling on platforms like Bring a Trailer and even PCar Market over the last couple of years, I mean, PCar Market has seen some pretty big money for cars that aren't PCars. They have had some success with that. It's limited, but it happens. But I think I got to wonder why. Okay, you want to bring the car to market and you want to get it sold quickly. Okay, PCar Market, that is one advantage. But why not just sell it on the open market? Why go through the auction process at all? Why go through the risk? What's the point of that? There are plenty of other ways to sell cars. It seems like people have forgotten that, Craigslist and Marketplace and all the forums and Auto Trader and Car Gurus. I mean, there's a million ways to sell cars that aren't auction sites that in some cases are better. If you want the premium money, Bring a Trailer is pretty much the only game in town. Cars and Bids is okay, and like you're saying, you can get the car to market more quickly. PCar is just such a risk, and you have to deal with slimy dudes. I don't know why you would bother. Just put the vehicle out on the market. I guess the only benefit would be that people, for some reason, with the auction sites, are willing to buy cars sight unseen. That's the big phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
You look at a car, there's a bunch of pictures and maybe some video, and you go through the auction and you buy it, and you never get a chance to sit in it, drive it, smell it, all those things. Whereas if you saw a car on a forum or a marketplace, on Facebook or something like that, you're going to want to call the guy and go and drive it and see it. And geez, I don't know. I just think I think a special car like this, there's no problem selling this car just straight up on the open market. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree. What we're looking at is a woman who lives in the agricultural part of California, brought this Japanese sports car, to her British car mechanic on consignment and to sell it. And I know he doesn't have time to deal with, the half dozen to dozen cars that are in his showroom that he's going to, consign and get out the door. And so for him, he's just going to throw it up on a platform and wait and see if somebody steps on their Johnson and bids all the money for it, and then they just deliver it.
I suppose there you go. If it's not your car, what do you care? If you're just signing it for someone else, I mean, it's kind of a cynical take, but if it is your car, it might be worth a little bit of time to actually show it to people that are genuinely interested. The thing is, I've sold cars on, over the years on forums and stuff, and people sight unseen, and had them shipped out.
Yeah, agreed. But again, I don't think in this case, I don't think anybody has the time. But I still think I actually think this car would have brought more money on Cars and Bids. But we'll see. So 36. What's your take, JP? What'd you say?
I agree with you on the Cars and Bids take because I think this is definitely a Doug DeMuro car. Doug DeMuro loves these. He's known for loving these, and that platform definitely has the person that wants this. PCar Market. Who the heck knows? You said 36. Yep. It's certainly worth that. It would probably bring in the 40s if it were on BAT on the open market. Okay, here's another thing about the open market. I'm gonna go bearish. I'm gonna underbid you. I'm gonna say 32. And it's worth so much more than that. I think that the other problem with this car is that if it FTSs, if it fails to sell, then the thing is burned on the open market.
Agreed.
Which is, you go and put this out on a forum or something, and then people are gonna be like, well, it only brought this much on the auction. I'm not paying more than that, and you're going to be dealing with that with every prospective buyer. So
for the next year, if you type S2000 and Nürburgring Blue Metallic, it's going to bring you to Google is going to bring you to this listing where we could see it fail to sell. So let's see what happens.
All right, right after this, guys, let's see how much this car will bring in just a moment. Okay, guys, I want to tell you about Vegas Auto Fest. The drivers are coming. This is one of our big sponsors. It's the biggest car show of the year in Las Vegas. It's one of the coolest car shows you can possibly experience anywhere. If you haven't made plans to be part of Vegas Auto Fest on September 17th, then do it now. Go to vegasautofest.com and register your car. You think you're a car enthusiast? Doesn't matter where you live. Plan a trip to Vegas on September 17th and come out and see this show. It's like Monterey Car Week all in a day. Have you ever been to the Quail? Have you ever been to Works Reunion? Have you ever been to Amelia Island? All those car shows are amazing and great. Have you been to Luftkult? Sure, but Vegas Auto Fest is something special. Make a plan for September 17th. We'll see you in Vegas. And we're back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bid Nerds, your daily nerd on all the automotive enthusiast auction sites like Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, sometimes PCar Market. We pick the most interesting car of the day, so you don't have to. Let's go ahead and talk about what happened with this S2000 that we've been talking about. Here it is again.
Ooh, that's a good car.
She's a pretty car. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're watching this video. You just saw a commercial. We're back. We want to tell you about what happened with this auction. Michael Deeb, this is a weird car for PCar Market. Was it a good idea? What happened?
Okay, so first of all, this car is being sold by British Sports Car in San Luis Obispo. The owner of that business is Justin Jurgens. He is a friend of the show. Such a good guy. This car was on consignment, and I kind of feel like it's a I told you so moment for the Bid Nerd show. So I said $36,000, which is probably not a strong number for the car, but that's because it's on PCar Market, and I didn't think it would sell at that price. You came in underneath at 32. Our car reached $35,000 where it failed to sell on just 14 bids. And now the car sits in the deal tank at $42,500, which is kind of congruent with what we had said just a few minutes ago. So the car remains available. I have seen this car in person. If you're watching this and you're interested in the car, call Justin and talk to him. The car is spectacular. It's really, really nice. It's got the rare hardtop, and it's got the rare blue color. It's not Suzuka blue. It's Nürburgring blue, which is a very rare shade for an S2000. So great car sitting there available. It's in the deal tank, but the car remains available at Justin's shop in San Luis Obispo. You could do worse by shopping without going to somebody that we trust. So if you're interested, call him. But there it is.
Oh, man. I mean, have you gotten a chance to talk to him?
No, I haven't. I meant to, but I didn't. We were busy over the weekend.
Yeah. Boy, I just want to know, what was he thinking? Why did he try PCar Market? I get trying to get fast to the market. Because Bring a Trailer takes a long time to get on there. But if you had a Porsche, maybe you want to get it to market more quickly, then maybe roll the dice with PCar Market. But this car just seems like that was a big risk. But if it was a consignment car and it's not really the seller who has to eat it. Now, okay, we talked about in a previous episode, if you guys watched yesterday's episode, we talked about a 993 that was on Bring a Trailer. This particular car, well, you know what? I'll bring it back up. It was a 1990. Yeah. So here's the 97 cab. This particular car, we talked about it at length, how horrible this car was modded. Now this is a fantastic Porsche. This is a 15,000 mile 993 cab. Cabs, we all know, don't bring as much as coupes, but this is about as good as it gets, except that the guy put some silly turbo 993 wing on it. He has a silly banner across the windshield. He's got these big black stone guards, which are, those are factory sort of, but, and the car is sitting on a American height, so it's about as bad as this car can possibly be represented, even though it's a spectacular car. Whereas this particular S2000, is about as good as an S2000 can be. And the photos are pretty awful, frankly, and I think that's a pretty big letdown. But this particular car, we have a term in the business, we call it burnt, right? Now, this car has been put out to market. It's been presented about as well as it possibly can. Like we said, could have been better photos, but this car isn't like modded in a way that makes it repellent like the 993 was. No. Can this car be brought back to market and be saved, or is it just burnt?
That's a good question, JP. The other thing too is the market on S2000s is softening. If there were a CR or it had 2,000 miles on it, then it's still going to bring all the money because it's a number one condition collectible. But there are tons of 20,000 mile S2000s in the marketplace. What will drive the value on this car is the hardtop and the color. But that's a tough question. I don't know how to answer that. It might be burnt, If he brought it to BAT, I don't think they would take it because it was just on PCAR. And if they said yes, then it would get killed in the commentaries for failing to sell just a few months ago at $35,000. So I think it's kind of burnt for the summer. You could bring this thing back to market in the fall or the winter, or maybe somebody will walk in the shop that is a customer of Justin's shop and they just buy it, and they don't care about its market result on the auction place,
Well, don't you think if you're the dealer, right, and you're consigning this car, wouldn't you be like, well, wouldn't you try to make the case with Bring a Trailer? Yeah, we put it on PCar Market, and that was clearly the wrong place for it because they don't have the audience. Wouldn't you try to make that case with Bring a Trailer? Or would you just be like, because it's pretty well known that Bring a Trailer doesn't like having cars listed that were for sale somewhere else. So right. would they even accept it? I don't know.
I can feel like they wouldn't this summer.
It's a 2-month gestation, though, so it's not like, the summer's almost over, basically, if you try to get it in BAT now.
Yeah, but there's a line in the application that says, was this car at auction in the last 45 days? And it's just going to be yes. And I think they're going to be like, no, try again, call back later. Mine's busy.
And even if you did get it on BAT, this thing goes up for sale in September, and that is not strong convertible market or season. Right. Even though this car has a hardtop, you're basically cutting off about half the people in the country that just aren't going to want to have this car going into the fall and winter. So there it is. All right, sad story for this excellent S2000. What do you guys think? Tell us in the comments below. Let us know if there's a car that you want us to talk about in the future, since you guys are from the future and we are like time travelers here. One half of the show is shot a week before the second half. Hit that subscribe, like, and notification button right now, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Get those words!